Let the warp overtake you in today's Chaos Space Marine review.
Spiking bits.
What's up, hobby maniacs? Rob Baer back again with you today, checking out the new Chaos Space Marine Codex. This is our second, well, I guess tied for second, new Codex for the edition, $40 US. It's not quite as big as the regular Chaos or regular Codex Space Marines, and it's actually way smaller, or the Grey Knight Codex is actually smaller than this one right here. Now this is going to have 45 data sheets in this bad boy. You got the normal 24 stratagems, 8 Legion traits. There's actually 9 psychic powers in this bad boy. You got your warlord traits, your specific warlord traits, all sorts of stuff in here, and of course all the dope background on, you know, the formation of the Renegade Legions, the Traitor Astartes, and of course stuff on the Horus Heresy. So tons of fluff, tons of useful rules, and also the spoiler, it definitely says in here in several places that Death Guard as well as a Tzeentch or Thousand Sons will have their own individual books. Doesn't look like Khorne is getting it, unfortunately, or Slaanesh, but hey, it is what it is. I'll take more chaos as we can get them. Of course, you know, Khorne had a Demonkin back in the day, and then there's your intro into everything that comes in here. Let's check the page count on this. 163, so it's a little bit less than what came in the normal Space Marine Codex. I think that was 208 pages right there. So here's the contents of the book. You're gonna have all of your dope fluff and bestiary on special specific units, and then specific legions, and then, you know, specific fluff on notable battles, you know, the whole breakdown with all of the Horus Heresy and things like that. So there's a lot of dope background in here for anybody just starting out a Chaos Army, but also for us veterans out there that love to kind of catch up on the fluff and, you know, make sure that everything is still here and still kind of the way we remember it. Now there's some fresh art in here. I don't remember seeing this. This is also the overleaf picture, but this is also in here, and it's looking good. I mean, there's a ton of good stuff in here. So Let the Galaxy Burn, the Great Crusade, the Horus Heresy, yada yada yada. There is a ton of information in here, and then it gets into warband specific stuff, more important battles, Legion specifics, more Legion specifics, more artwork and things we saw, and then the individual units themselves, like the Raptors, the Warp Talons, you know, all of the single choices, but also like people like Abaddon. Where are they? Let's see. Abaddon's definitely in here. Oh well, we didn't see him. Also, the demons are in here as troop choices as well in the back of the book. And then here's the section, all the dope painted miniatures to get those hobby juices flowing and get y'all riled up, do some painting. I love this stuff right here. And then a little example kind of army with some tactics, and then gets into the rules breakdown. Now, of course, we always do our tips and tactics breakdown here on the channel for these rules. This isn't going to be any different. We're just going to give you a brief overview of the book, come back with a separate video, probably be about 30 minutes long, breaking down all the stuff that you need to know or might have missed, stuff, and you know, things like that. Just kind of giving you our thoughts on how this book works, and, you know, maybe like a top 5 list of dope things right there. Now, it's going to be a whole lot of things in here to talk about. Of course, if you do pick up the accompanying data cards, the Chaos Space Marine data cards, they're $15 for this. You're going to get all of the stratagems, all of the psychic powers, the extra smite. Also, you're going to get the 3 extra stratagems as well for the stratagems you can do, like command reroll and things like that. Where are they? Stratagem, but also the tactical. Actually, they didn't put the tactical in here. Oh yeah, here they are. They're in front. Where is it? Smite. Okay, so there's your smite psychic power. Oh, they don't have. I thought it was in the front. Tactical objective. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. A command reroll, counteroffensive, and insane bravery for the morale right there. So they give you the bonus cards in here, which is super nice. And this one actually looks bigger than the Grey Knight one because there's actually only 16 stratagems in the Grey Knight one. So Chaos has the same amount as the normal Space Marines. Now, getting into the rules themselves, these are a little tricky. There's a difference between a Legion and a Mark, and it's very specific. Some things can't be marked, and some things can't be Legion. And they talk about it here. They're like Death Guard and Thousand Sons, they cannot have one of these keywords. So you have to have a mark to have a specific power from the best I can determine it here, which is going to kind of run havoc on existing things that aren't in this book. Like Magnus, for instance, isn't in this book. And Magnus technically doesn't have access to that Tzeentch power. However, you could probably get around that. Some horrors could take it, and it would affect him because I think he's a renegade Tzeentch keyword model, but we'll take a look at that here in a second regardless. So Mark of Chaos, you can be just a plain Mark of Chaos, or you can be one of the 4 major powers. Conversely, you can be a Legion keyword, or you can be one of the major legions, but not both. And where this is going to come into play is this is going to unlock special stratagems and things you can take here that play into your actual rules themselves, and conversely as well, or subsequently, the Mark of Chaos is also going to give you unlocks for things like that. So it's kind of weird, and they talk about it in the back here about what exactly a Chaos Battleforged army is. So we're just going to kind of follow down the checklist here of what things are, and hopefully pick it back up in the tips and tactics. But I just want you guys to be aware of certain things, because it is a little complicated in here. Not anymore. Maybe a little bit more complicated than the actual Space Marine book there. So Abaddon the Despoiler has multiple keyword marks, right? Because he's keyword Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, or Tzeentch, not just mark of. But he has a Legion, Black Legion. So he's not customizable, but he can take, if he was a sorcerer, I suppose, he would have access to some of those psychic powers that pertain to this particular keyword. So that you kind of have to keep in mind. Whereas like the troops themselves, or say another special character, you can mark him a certain way, and you can also be of a certain legion. And Games Workshop has said, hey, you can be, for instance, a Mark of Chaos Nurgle and also be Legion Iron Warriors if you have both of those slots open, and benefit from both of those benefits where they come into play. So there's a little bit of wonkiness, but once you just kind of follow the flow chart in your mind of what you're trying to do, it becomes a little bit more apparent. Like I said, there's 45 of these data sheets in here. Not quite as many as the Space Marine book. I think there was 85 there. It doesn't look like they added anything. Of course, we'll go through and be very comprehensive about what is actually air quotes missing, but we know that you can play with anything that's missing from the Index Chaos. You can also play in here. You can build out your army the specific way, as long as it works the specific way with the marks and things like that, which we're about to see. And here's all the points and everything in the back. But let's jump this section, and let's talk about abilities. So first off, they're going to get the Despoilers of the Galaxy, which is just going to make them scoring for objective control, just like we saw in the Marine book. The rules described in here are for Chaos Space Marine units. So a Chaos Space Marine detachment is defined as one that includes units with one of these keywords, okay? So you have to be either Legion or one of the specific named legions to be in a Chaos Space Marine detachment. And then if your army is Battleforged, all infantry, bikers, and Hellbrutes can benefit from a Legion trait right over here that we've seen in the past. Of course, remember, Hellbrute is now the dreadnought word for chaos. All right. So if your Chaos Space Marines are from a Renegade chapter, they do not otherwise have associate trait. Use the Renegade traits opposite, which is right here. Certain things do not benefit from anything like that, but they do not take away if you include them in a detachment, okay? So keep that in mind right there. Like Fabius Bio and the Fall. And then we get into stratagems. The Chaos Boon Table is actually a stratagem that you can pay command points for and roll on this chart. Every time you kill an enemy character, vehicle, or a monster, you can roll on it. Seems pretty cool. I mean, why not, right? And they stack. They last for the rest of the battle. Cannot be received by a model more than once. If this happens, choose a result the model has not yet received. Excluding spawn number demonhood, chaos spawn or demons created by the boon must have the same mark as the model it had. And there's lots more of these in here. We see some ones ported over from the Space Marine Codex, like Linebreaker Bombardment as well. different things in here that we've already seen. Of course, you know, I'm showing you all these pages, so you can always pause it and read this stuff for yourself. Should be good enough quality for you to do that. We're not going to get into the breakdown on this stuff quite yet. And then the 9 psychic powers in here. Now, of course, we saw the 3 already, but we've got 6 more. 3 are Legion specific, and you have to have a specific mark. And that's what I'm saying. Some of the units that are in here that don't have that mark, like for instance, Magnus cannot take the can't get the Tzeentch power, which is super crazy. Now imagine when this comes out, because he's a Tzeentch, he's a heretic Astartes, and he is Thousand Sons. We knew 1,000 Sons are going to get their own book, because right here it actually says that. It actually says it in a couple of places, but right here it specifies that they will have Death Guard and 1,000 Sons will have custom rules as detailed in their own Codex books right there. So we know that's coming. But here's the thing. He won't be able to pick this power because he is actually not Mark of... He is actually not Mark of Chaos Psyker, I don't think, right? So, I don't know. That seems kind of weird. But he would definitely benefit from it as far as I can tell, because he is a Tzeentch Heretic Astartes, right? So I don't know how this is all supposed to work. Faction keywords. Can use powers from Dark. Replace one with the appropriate Mark of Chaos psychic powers on the right. At least I think that's how it works. But again, maybe that is not how it works, because Mark of Chaos would be Tzeentch right there. Very interesting, very interesting. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but regardless, he could be affected by it still. Obviously, it would affect him. I'm not sure if he can take this quite yet. But again, we'll break down into all this. This is just my first look. Obviously, comments are always welcome here on the folks that might have broken this down a little bit more. Like I said, this is always our first look. We're getting our hot little hands, just breaking it down as best we can with as short a notice as we have. Now, personally, I like the Death Hex, taking away invulnerable saves. Seems pretty good. Wartime, we already knew was a winner. Prescience was already a winner. And of course, Infernal Gaze, definitely a super winner right there. Those are back. And then, of course, you got the Miasma of Pestilence. The Mark of Slanesh, Delightful Agony, is just going to give you a little bit of a kind of feel no pain type roll right there on anytime you lose a wound in a Slaneshi Heretic Astartes list right there. And then it goes into Artifacts of Chaos. There's going to be a bunch of these right here. So you've got, actually, how many of these are there? 14 new weapons available to the Chaos Space. And remember, you can just take these if you have a character. However, in some cases they have to replace things, like the new Black Mace, which isn't quite as bad as good as the old Black Mace, but it replaces a model that has a power maul only. Flak missiles also came back for the whatchamajigger right there. The stratagems. Now, Gives of Chaos is also going to allow you to spend 3 command points to unlock 2 of these bad boys right here in your army. So choose wisely. We'll talk about more of these in the future, but here they are in all of their glory. Of course, you can pause the video and check those out at your leisure. Warlord traits, again, just like the Space Marine book, if you take a named character, if you wish, you can pick a Legion Warlord trait from the list below instead of the Chaos Space Marine Warlord trait, but only if your Warlord is from that Legion. So it is not required to take a specific one, except for these named characters right down here have to take these ones right here. So this is a little bit different from the Marine book, where, you know, for instance, Guilliman would have access to the Ultramarine trait, which allows him every time he spends a command point to roll a 5 and get it back. This time, people like Abaddon has to take First Among Traitors, which is right there. Conversely, you could take one of these or one of these if you have a Chaos Space Marine character as your Warlord and Black Legion. You could say, okay, I want that, or I want that. It's not specified that you have to take that right there. So that's kind of cool. A little bit of flexibility there. Gets into the point values. Leave that up for you guys to check out. I'm sure some things changed. Don't exactly know 100% yet. And the tactical objectives right there. Those are the other 6 that are going to make up the special deck that are going to give you 41 total. So overall, I think this looks great. I haven't really dug into it. I think it might be just a little bit more complicated in this Space Marine book, but that's just a cursory look. I'm sure there's a ton more combos and things in here. Oh, and we missed, I might not have mentioned Demonic Ritual is in here. So you can summon demons, and of course Word Bearers do it a little bit better with their traits, but we don't need to show you that. And like I said, there are the 4 basic demons of each one of the factions are also in here as a troop choice, just maybe as a convenience or something, so you don't have to go to a different detachment. I'm actually not 100% sure. I gotta double check with the Index Codex, or the Index Chaos right over here. So that's it for this one. That's our quick and dirty first look at the new Chaos Space Marine Codex. We'll be doing our breakdown very shortly, I assure you. And if you have already heard our podcast on Wednesday night, well, then we talked about this book a lot more in depth, so make sure you check that out over on the Long War. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, be the very first to comment, and like our video here, and head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.